Hey friends, how are we all doing today? My name is Ryan, and today I'm here to talk about getting motivated. I myself am a very mentally active person, but I have a really difficult time with self motivation sometimes. And I'd like to get down to the root of the problem with every problem. So, in getting down to the roots of my problems, let's start noodling this one through, and here's what I came up with. So, first of all, self motivation. What is self motivation? It's really exactly what it sounds like. It's getting yourself motivated to get up and do what you got to do. Um, for me, I'm a father of four. As I'm sure you can tell by my face, I don't get a lot of sleep. I'm a very tired guy. I'm also a heavy cigarette smoker, and that's been a detriment to my health for a very long time. And a lot of black coffee doesn't, well, it doesn't help, but it doesn't hurt. Um, it's not great for anxiety, but that's a whole nother video in and of itself. So, kind of got down to the root of why I get myself a little worked up over some things that really aren't that big of a job, or I talk myself out of some things I really want to do. Um, so I guess anxiety is a little relevant to this, well, very relevant to this, but it'll be its own video, I promise. Anxiety is a natural thing that we all feel. Anxiety can be a motivator in a lot of cases. Um, I like to refer to myself in a workspace environment as an anxiety driven person because my anxiety over leaving things unfinished pushes me to finish them and finish them well so that I don't have to worry about them any longer. Um, excuse me. I'm not exactly good at turning that switch off, though. And that uses a lot of energy. Imagine a light bulb being my head, which works because I have a very light bulb shaped head. Um, and my brain being the filament. And naturally, what do light bulbs do when you leave them on all the time? Eventually, that filament burns out. So, in my light bulb shaped head, I have to know when I'm running too hot and it's time to shut me off. And the switch is also it's harder to flip that switch when you're an anxiety driven person because you're focused on all the things you need to do and need to accomplish and need to get done, and the time frames in which you accomplish them tend to be relative. I know for myself they really are. um, so with that being said, it's really hard to put aside that to-do list, but that's the biggest part of it is I've had to learn to kind of see myself into the future just a smidgen um, to kind of play that tape all the way through. Like I know I'm gonna burn myself out if I worry about this now. So the key to doing that was to develop myself some prioritization skills. I'm still working on it a bit. No one's perfect, and fingers crossed. Uh, that's okay with everyone. It's okay with me, but that's not going to stop me from working on myself every day. I can always be better. And a great part of working on myself and being better is better prioritizing. Not just for those motivational skills, but just in general. We waste so much energy on things that aren't worth our time or are worth our time on our schedule, not on theirs. In my life, I have also had to accept that things can't always go on my schedule. Things can't always be my way. So I need to leave myself time and plan for that and not let that interfere with my to do list. I talk myself out of a lot of things and have a hard time motivating myself when when I'm home and I'm not working, because there's no pressure behind me to achieve anything in a certain time frame. But also because when I do get those bouts of motivation, I burn myself right out because I'm that anxiety driven person. So when you're dealing with being anxiety driven for your motivation, understand that it will ebb and flow. You will burn out at some point, and that's where the self-motivation problems occur, is during that burnout phase. During that burnout phase, it's really important not to push yourself too hard. That's the number one thing. Self-motivation is is much more simple than we make it, but a lot of people overwhelm themselves too with their plan, and that thought, not being able to turn off those thoughts, is burning a lot of energy. A lot of times I hear things like people saying, I'm gonna start going to the gym and develop this regimen, and they have this like big long extravagant goal. I, and that's great, and hold to your goals, develop big plans, but start with a walk around the block. Just do something small and simple within your power that you have control over. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't put too much on your plate, because the problem usually isn't that you're doing something wrong and you need to exert more energy. The problem is that you've been exerting too much energy in the wrong places, like up here. So keep it simple. Dumb things down for yourself. Take a nap. Taking a nap sounds extremely counterproductive to self-motivation. I totally understand that, but it's not, I promise. And here's why. If you stop and slow down and take a nap, that gives you a chance to maybe let that filament cool down and not burn itself all the way out. When you go to turn that light back on again, it will shine a little brighter. You'll be refreshed. You'll be ready to go. And if you're having a hard time settling yourself down on the inside, and things like meditation and rest and trying to calm your brain down don't work for you, a really simple thing can be like hand activities that end in progress you can see, because that gives you a sense of achievement. And for myself, that would be like my art, writing music, making random silly short comedy videos, even sometimes taking a break and playing a video game, but something like really immersive that takes your mind off of the world entirely. If shooters are your thing, I recommend focus on the scoreboard more than anything, because that's like that sense of progress, and it'll make you feel motivated to be productive when you see productive things. I'm really heavy on RPGs, and like the Elder Scrolls games. Oblivion is my favorite one, TIS 4. So like I like making unusual character builds that I'm not good at when I'm feeling stressed, because they take a lot of like focus for me to master. And now I don't really think there's a character build in that game I can't play. But now I have this sense of achievement, and there's a lot of math involved in that game and a lot of planning. Doing things to distract yourself from your stressors lets your brain cool down a little bit. Taking walks is a healthier version. There are definitely mental health benefits to some video games, especially RPGs, puzzle games, action adventures, things that make you solve different mysteries and stuff like that. And shooters, maybe they're not so mentally great for like younger minds, but for an adult, they are actually a really productive way to blow off steam. But it's also a matter of perspective. How do you treat the tools in your life? And if you overthink everything, it's good to have a distraction. So self-motivation, when you're at the point when you're burnt out and you're tired and you're having a really hard time thinking things through, that one is a little trickier. You're groggy, your mind's not in the right place, the to-do list isn't even there, the world's just gray. That's the depressed self-motivation struggle. And the manic self-motivation struggle versus the depressive self-motivation struggle kind of require opposite um, approaches. So for the manic self-motivation struggle, where you burn yourself out overthinking everything, distractions, simplifying things, taking things slowly and just slowing down will help you prioritize better and have more energy in the long run. For the depressive lack of self-motivation struggle, my approach has always been to do things that get my mind active but don't really require much of my body. Reading a book, or getting myself motivated to do things like reading a book might not always be the easiest thing in the world. And again, I'm going to talk myself out of everything I come up with. That's natural. So sometimes I got to let someone else do the thinking for me, and a great solution might be putting on a movie I've never seen before. And a really good way to distract myself, I've found, is to put on movies that are outside of my realm of interest. Because at first, yeah, they might annoy me a little bit, or I might kind of turn my nose up at them. But something in that movie will catch my attention that I'm not expecting or prepared for. And now I got sucked in and didn't even realize it. Like, I'm really into a lot of like horror films. I like slasher films and stuff, but I'm more like psychological mystery kind of horror films and stuff like that. Like, shoot, what's the name of that one movie? The Visit. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and it is awesome. And it was the first time I saw that movie, it blew my mind. I like a lot of stuff like that, but I also like westerns. I like war movies. I like comedy a lot. Never been big on like romantic comedies. Never been big on stuff like that. So if I want to annoy myself and get myself out of my own head, 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler is a good way to go. Nothing against Adam Sandler. It's just, he's done better. But anyway, I'm not here to judge anybody's career. Because no, Adam Sandler is an awesome part of my childhood. I'd like to thank him for his work. So, but getting out of your head is, no matter what, the best way to self-motivate. And it's not always easy. Sometimes we got to trick ourselves. But the solutions out there are sometimes keep it simple, kind of on the manic side. If you're on the depressive side, just, work your brain out. Don't worry about the rest of your body. Give your brain the workout it needs. Because a lot of that depressive energy comes from your brain not being stimulated enough. Stimulate it. Or, you know what? Watch an exciting movie you know you're going to like. Watch something you've only seen once, but you maybe missed some parts of. You'd really like to see it again and get the whole thing. Or, get sucked into a series. I don't recommend that one because binge watching and sitting in front of a television for too long is going to make you feel more depressed. Really, I recommend a book more than anything. But even a conversation. And just listen. Be the active listener in the conversation. You know what, looking back on all of that, because these videos are completely unscripted too. This is all just from the heart. But looking back on that, I take back what I said about the book being the best one. I think that conversation bit. Yeah. Call someone and just be the active listener. And when I say that, I mean, don't be someone's punching bag. Call someone who's not going to bring you down, Know what you're doing. But whatever you choose to do it with the mindset that you want to feel better. Because if you want to feel better, you'll feel better. Thanks for listening.